Garbage! Bring out your garbage! Garbage collection! Oh, boy. Wow. Didn't know there'd be so many people wanting to watch a man pick up garbage, but I'll say okay. Nice to see ya. Good to see ya. Good to see ya. Oh, I should introduce myself. My name is Joe. You can say, hey, Joe. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. Wow. Didn't know a garbage man here in Jerusalem would get so much attention. Great. You must have a really boring life if you're watching a guy pick up garbage. But hey, I'm not here to judge. Well, you might wonder, what are you doing here today, Joe? Well, here's the thing. I am an official sanitation engineer. That's a fancy way to say garbage man. And I work for the Jerusalem Authority of Waste Sanitation. JAWS. JAWS. Maybe you've seen our commercials. You know, pick up all the doo-doo, doo-doo, doo-doo of Jerusalem. Yeah, yeah. I didn't write the jokes. All right. Well, here's the thing. You know, I have been picking up garbage here in Jerusalem for almost 20 years. And everywhere I go, people tend to just ignore me. Nobody wants to hang out with the garbage man. And you would think that the route that I do would be a bit more important. You see, I'm the one who picks up all the garbage at the Holy Temple in Jerusalem. That's right. Maybe you've heard of the temple? I pick up all the trash at the temple. You could say, I'll pick up the holy garbage. Well, here's the thing, though. That temple is full of people and animals. Maybe you've heard they're always selling animals out there in the outer court, animals to be used for sacrifice. And then with all the sacrificing, let me tell you, the garbage at the temple, that is some stinky, stinky stuff. I don't mind it, but what I don't enjoy is when I go to the temple, you should see the looks I get from the people there. You know, the leaders of the temple, Sanhedrin, Sadducees, the Pharisees. Oh, when I come in, they just turn their backs to me. As if they think, Joe isn't someone important. I'm a lesser Israelite than all of them. Just because I got this trash can with me. Oh, they look at me like well, I hate to say it. They look at me like I'm garbage. Huh. Well, since we got a few moments here, I should let you know, being a garbage man wasn't my first career idea. You see, I originally wanted to be a ballet dancer. You should see me in a tutu. Wait, I've got the legs for it. The only problem is ballet won't be invented for another 1,500 years, so I was out of luck. So I went into the sanitation business. And being a garbage man, it's not all glamour and fame. No, 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 no. It's hard work. It's kind of stinky work, matter of fact. It gets pretty hot here in Jerusalem, and that garbage gets to smelling. And, over the years, maybe that smell has worn off on me a little bit. People do steer clear when I'm walking in a crowded area. But here's the thing. In 20 years as a garbage man, I've picked up a lot of garbage, and I've learned a few things. Do you know? You can learn a lot about a person from the garbage that they throw away. You can learn a lot about a person from the garbage that they carry each and every day. Well, since we're getting so friendly up here and, I've got a few minutes, it is a government job after all. Maybe I'll show you what's in my garbage. You see, I've had a bit of a hard life. And there's some things in my garbage that I'm not too proud of. Well, let me just show you. There's a few things in here. Now, kids, Don't try this at home. Don't go home and dig through your garbage. No, no. Go to your friend's home and do it. All right. Here we go. Here's a little bit of my garbage. Joe's garbage. You see, the first one is this word. Mistake. That's how my life started. I was known as a mistake. You see, my mother had a bit of a wild youth, and we're not exactly sure who my father is. And when she became pregnant, she was living in a small town in Capernaum, and people weren't too happy when she got pregnant and wasn't married, and she had to pack up and move out. She wasn't welcome. People didn't approve of the choices that she was making, and I'm a result of those choices. So we had to move to Jerusalem. And yeah, we would go visit my mother's family every now and then. But friends, this is how they saw me. They saw me as a mistake, as a result of my mother's bad choices. My grandmother claimed she knew who my father was, but I never met him. He never so much as came up to say hello. He never sent me any cards or birthday presents. I guess he didn't really want much to do with me. And that's how I was known for most of my childhood and into my teens. The mistake. The mistake that my mother made. Well, the second piece of garbage about my life, I'm not too proud of. Rage. I know. You say, how could such a kind, mild-mannered garbage man be filled with rage? Well, in my younger years, I was very, very angry. You see, all those whispers and words that people called me from being a mistake filled me with anger. I was angry at my mother. I was angry at the father that I never knew. I was angry at people who lived in a lifestyle that I could not have. You see, my mom and I had to scrap by for everything we had. There were many nights we didn't have enough food. We were hungry. We didn't have a place to sleep. And I looked at the people in their nice homes with plenty to eat, and I hated them. It made me so angry to see them. But you know who I was angry with most of all? Do you know who my rage was particularly highest for? God. You see, I often, in my rage, would curse God, cursing Him for ever creating me, saying, God, why did you even bring me into this world? Why am I even here? And I went around filled with rage, looking for anyone who'd like to fight. Oh, my anger was quick, and my fists were even quicker. I hurt a lot of people. Oh, I hurt people. I even hurt people who were trying to help me. Because my rage wouldn't allow me to show kindness or to receive it. Oh, then we move on. Yeah. Here's another piece of my garbage. Regrets. Regrets. As I grew older, I looked at the choices that I had made, the people that I had hurt, people like my mother, people who tried to help me, who I pushed away, who I insulted. My philosophy was always hurt them before they can hurt me. And I looked back, and this is what I was filled with. Regrets. I had made some terrible choices. And I had suffered the consequences. And I had those regrets on me. Of course, you can't have regret without the two of these pieces of garbage. Shame and guilt. Everywhere I went, shame and guilt followed me. I tried to be a better person. I got this job as a garbage man, tried to make a difference, tried to help out, tried to make sure we had food on our table. But everywhere I went, shame and guilt followed me. I felt so ashamed of the way I had lived. I felt so guilty of the choices I had made. That's my garbage. And let me tell you, I carried that sack of garbage inside my heart everywhere I went. Yeah, I could go to the temple and pray, but that garbage was heavy on me. And I pretty much figured, well, I might as well be a garbage man because I've been carrying garbage my whole life. I pretty much figured maybe all those Pharisees and Sadducees were right. Maybe I am not a trash collector, but I'm a collection of trash. That's what I felt. And I probably would have carried that garbage bag with me every single day of my life until you see, I'd gone to a training down by the Sea of Galilee. It was a training on new trash collecting techniques. We garbage men at the Jaws, we take our trash collecting very seriously. We were there at this training, and we had a little bit of time. So I went down to see the Sea of Galilee. I'd heard so much about it. And while I was down there, there was a crowd forming. The crowd was all gathered around by the edge of the water. And they were all listening to one man. I thought, I'd figure out who this man is. I thought, well, maybe this is some kind of celebrity, some kind of Galilean pop star. Maybe one of them boy band members that the girls in Jerusalem are always gossiping about. So I kind of made my way. Well, the thing is, I don't take many showers, so as I got into the crowd, it was kind of like Moses parting the Red Sea. They got a whiff of my odor and opened their game. So I walked right up to this man who was talking. Oh, I remember that man. He had the kindest, most honest eyes. He wasn't dressed in fancy robes like the people at the temple or the wealthy. No, he was dressed humbly. But the words he was saying, they had such power. He spoke them with such truth. So I asked the man next to me, I said, hey buddy, who is this guy? And he kind of backed away, and he pinched his nose, and he said, his name is Jesus. Jesus. I thought to myself, I've heard that name, Jesus. Where? Oh, that's what I remembered. I had heard it at the temple. All those leaders, those Sadducees, the chief priests, they were talking about this Jesus. Oh, they were talking about him all the time. You see, they didn't like him very much. They were kind of concerned about Jesus, the way he was teaching, the way he was preaching, and the way he was performing miracles. Oh, they didn't like Jesus at all. In fact, I heard some rumors they were plotting something against Jesus. When I saw Jesus standing in front of me, I thought they must be mistaken. There must be a different Jesus because this is a good man. This is a man who, when he looked at me, he didn't look at me with that kind of disgust that so many people in my life have looked at me with. He looked at me with compassion, with grace, kindness, with love. And that's when I realized, as much as I wanted to be around this Jesus, I couldn't get too close. Because what if he saw my garbage? No, not the garbage can that I wheeled in Jerusalem. What if he saw the garbage in here? Oh, if Jesus saw what was in my heart, if he saw that rage, that shame, that guilt, that regret, oh, he would want nothing to do with me. So friends, I hate to admit it. I turned and I ran. I didn't want Jesus to see the filth that was inside me. So I got out of there. I left Jesus and I went back to my training, and I thought that would be the last time I ever saw him. Well then, a year at Jerusalem. I was at the temple, just cleaning up. I believe I was scraping up pigeon poop. Ooh, that's nasty stuff. And then I heard a commotion. Big commotion. You know when a crowd is getting really excited? Have you ever experienced that? When you hear the roar and it just gets louder and louder, well, that's what I heard. They were shouting and yelling, and then the whole crowd was moving down the street, and they were headed all the way down to where the governor is, Pontius Pilate. They were heading to his palace called the Praetorium. They were heading down there, and it looked like there was a man in the middle of all this crowd. Well, I had to follow and find out what was it about. So I hightailed it down there. I left the pigeon poop and I went on down. And it was hard. It was standing room only. But I made my way through the crowd as close as the Roman soldiers would let me. And that's when I saw him again. That same Jesus. That same Jesus was standing up there next to Pilate. Couldn't hear the conversation, but it looked rather one-sided, like Pilate was doing all the talking and Jesus was just standing there listening. But he didn't look the same. Oh no. He looked beaten. He looked as if he had been hurt. Then I saw Pilate do the strangest thing. He called for a bowl of water and he washed his hands, which is a symbolic gesture, meaning he has nothing to do with what happens next. And do you know what that crowd kept yelling? They kept yelling the same thing. I could hear it even though I wasn't that close. They kept yelling and yelling it. Crucify him. Crucify him. I don't know if you know much about crucifixion. My friends, that's terrible. That's what the Romans do to the very worst. That's what they do to the people they want to make an example of. Those who try to have an insurrection, those who try to steal, those who kill, they put them on the cross. And they put nails in their hands. And that's what they were saying to do with Jesus. I couldn't believe my ears. Crucify Jesus. What had he done? This was the same man who looked with such kindness upon me. But they kept chanting it and chanting it, and then Pilate washes his hands, and the next thing I know, the Roman soldiers are taking Jesus over. And they're whipping him. They pull out their whip, the cat of nine tails, and they just beat him. Oh, friends, let me tell you, 20 years in the garbage business builds a strong stomach. I can pretty much bear anything. Well, the way they flogged Jesus, it was horrible. Blood everywhere. They tore up his back, tearing it to shreds. You know, I have seen those same soldiers kill a man just from a flogging. And they just kept going. You could almost see a look of delight in the eyes of that crowd. With each crack of that whip across his back, as flesh came flying out, you could hear their cheers. Their cheers. But that wasn't enough. Oh no, the humiliation wasn't quite done. Jesus was so beaten to a pulp, bleeding right there. But then the soldiers took it to the next step. They took a large wooden beam and they tied it to him. And then they made him, in that weakened state, carry that beam down the street. And as he carried that beam down the street, the people lined the street. That same crowd and the new onlookers lined the street. And they were mocking his pain, mocking him, spitting on him, saying things that I cannot repeat. So beaten, so weak, that as he carried that crossbeam, he fell. And they had to get another man to help him out. And they carried it all the way up to the hill. The hill we do not like to go to. The hill where crucifixions happen. The hill known as the skull, or in our language, Golgotha. And there on that hill, they laid him on that wooden crossbeam, and they took nails, and they jabbed them through his hand, hammering through his flesh, through his feet. They nailed him to the cross. Then they hoisted him in the air for all to see. Bloody, beaten Jesus. And they put him on that cross to die. I don't know if you've ever seen crucifixion. I hate to say it's a rather common occurrence here in Jerusalem. But it is the worst way for someone to die. Because it's not the blood loss that kills you. You basically drown. You lose your breath. Trying to hold yourself up. And there he was on that cross. And do you know the people that kept mocking him, saying horrible things, telling him he really was the Son of God, he could save himself, laughing at him. It was as if he didn't have a friend there. So I made my way a little bit closer. I wanted to just see one final look because I knew he wasn't going to last long. So I'll just take one look and then I'll turn around and I'll go. So I looked. And that's the moment that our eyes met. And he called the name, Joe. Joe. I thought, no, there must be a different Joe here. He doesn't even know me. But friends, it's like he knew me better than anyone has ever known me. That's why it's, what can I do? He said, we're at he said, give it to me. Give it to me. I thought, what does he want me to give? Does he need a drink? Does he need me to help him out? What does he want me to give? And that's when it hit me. Do you know what he wanted me to give? My garbage. He wanted my garbage. He wanted that rage, that shame, that regret, that guilt, that hatred. He wanted my garbage. I said, no. No, Jesus, I can't give you that. He said, I can't give you that. And he said it again. Give it to me. I said, okay, Jesus. Okay. I give you my garbage. I give you all the mistakes and failures of my life. I give you all the filth that's inside my heart. I give it to you. And as I said that, I saw something on that cross. Yeah, you can say I'm crazy. You can say it. I saw it with my very two own eyes. I saw up there on that cross. I saw on Jesus' shoulders my garbage. I saw the rage, saw the guilt, saw the shame, saw the anger. And it was crushing. It made his shoulders droop and it pressed against his chest. And I said, Jesus, give it back to me. You can't keep that. I am not going to be responsible. Give me back that garbage. And he just shook his head. I said, Jesus, why would you take my garbage? Gasping breath. He said it so clearly. Because I love you. Was with him. As he said, it is finished. My garbage pushed against him. My garbage was responsible for helping kill Jesus. He took my garbage. Do Do you know what I received? Peace. Freedom. The moment that I gave that garbage to Jesus, I experienced something I've never experienced before. I experienced a feeling of peace, of comfort. I gave him the garbage and he gave me freedom. Freedom from my trash. Oh, I tell you, friends, it changed my life. I've never been the same. In fact, ever since that day, I don't mind being a garbage man. In fact, I kind of like it. But I learned a thing or two about garbage now. You see, at the end of the day, when I fill up this can, when I complete my route, do you know what I do with all that trash? I throw it away. I don't take it home. I throw it away. And that's just not the trash in here, but the trash in here. I don't keep it any longer. I gave it to Jesus, and I don't have to hang on anymore. Well, I could go on and on and on, but I know I've got work still to do. But I do have a question for you tonight. I know this might be an odd question. I want you to hear this. If you forget everything else about Joe, remember this question. And simply is this. What is in your garbage sack? What garbage are you carrying with you tonight? In fact, when you came in, I think you got a little piece of paper. If you want to get that out, what I want to challenge you to do is write down what garbage is heavy on your heart tonight. Maybe it's failures, mistakes. Maybe you're like me, anger. Maybe you have said things, done things that you are not proud of. Maybe you have shame. Maybe it's things that other people have told you that you have put on your heart. Maybe they have said things to you that you aren't good enough, that you are a mistake, just like they said about me. Maybe it's horrible things. Maybe you have felt unloved and you have bitterness in you. Maybe you were in a conflict and you never really forgave that person who hurt you. Whatever the garbage is, I want you to write it down. You don't have to show it to anybody else. You can write it in code. You can write it in a different language, however you want to write it. Just write down your garbage. Write it down. What garbage are you carrying with you tonight? And friends, in just a moment, as I go back to my route, I'm going to leave this garbage can right here, facing this cross. And I'm going to invite you to plays the song that's being sung. And if you would like to, take your garbage, take that garbage, bring it up here. Put it in the garbage can. As you do, focus on that cross. Give your garbage to Jesus. Give your garbage to the one who died on a cross, to the one who took my garbage and said, I love you. Because friends, that's what he's saying to you tonight. You bring your garbage up here, and he says those words, I love you. He'll take your garbage, and here's the great news. He doesn't give it back. He takes it upon himself, and he gives you freedom, peace, forgiveness. So will you do that tonight? I don't know a lot about life. I'm a simple garbage man. But I will let you know. You give your garbage to him. It will change your life. Just like it changed mine. Well, thanks for letting me share tonight. I must be on my way. There's a food truck out there that I think I've got to pick up some of their garbage. So I'll see ya. But remember, give your garbage